In my book, Natural Way of Being, I contrast two different ways, actually three, but I'm just going to talk about two of them today. Um, and that is one way of creation I called willful creation, and the other I called collaborative creation. Okay, and sometimes one can be better for different things. I got to a point in my life where I wanted to go beyond willful creation and I wanted to start creating things collaboratively. So, willful creation is when we kind of make things happen and we force things into existence. We kind of just make them happen. They're usually constructed from our mind, and they got some of that Protestant work ethic that I talked about a few videos ago. And it's like we work hard and we will it into existence. We make it happen. And a lot of amazing things get created this way. Okay. It is, however, my truth is that it's limited by what our mind can see and make happen. Okay. If we use collaborative creation, okay, there we're creating things in partnership with spirit, with the universe, with God, with your higher self, whatever your belief is. And that can see beyond, way beyond. They always say that we maybe use 10% of our brain. The really, really brilliant people use 10% of their brain. It's like, so our mind is limited. It can only see things that we can see. If we collaborate with spirit or the universe, and spirit can see 100% of what's going on, then we just opened up 90% of possibility that can happen. So that's why I like, for some things especially, I like collaborative creation. And that took longer to learn. It was less natural to me, even though it is more natural. It was less natural to me with the way I was conditioned than willful creation was, because I was brought up with a dad and a mom that said, if you want to make something of your life, go do it. You have to work hard. So I was conditioned to have willful creation. Collaborative creation, I had to kind of figure out. It's been like almost a lifelong quest of mine to figure out how that works. Okay. And one of the skills that I want to talk about today is because collaborative creation, let me just say, collaborative creation is not passive. So we're still doing something. We're still, in a way, initiating. We're still making the thing happen, but we're doing it in a different way. We're having an intention, okay, of what we would like. Okay, and I talk about that a lot. I want to talk about the other part today, though. Beyond the intention, I'm going to create a space for the thing to happen. Another way to say that is I'm going to create the conditions for that thing to happen. But I'm not going to specify how it happens and what form it takes. I'm just going to create a space for it. One of the ways I really like is when Adyashanti, contemporary spiritual teacher Adyashanti, when he talks about awakening, like spiritual awakening or enlightenment, he said you can go to the edge of your basically your reality, the parameters, we used to call it the parameters of your existence. You can go to the edge, but you can't will yourself to be awakened. So his practice is through meditation and self-inquiry and various things, to go to that place in meditation and in your life and just hang out on the edge of your reality and hang out there and create the conditions, and then enlightenment and awakening will happen. Now you've prepared yourself because you're right there on the edge, you're available to it, and then it comes when it comes. And that's a really good example. It's a spiritual example of creating the conditions for the thing you want. Now, if it's more of if it's an experience you want, and this is where I really want to talk about today. It's like, say it's an experience you want to have with your family or your significant other. Say it's a vacation. Okay, so it's not passive. So you don't just not plan your vacation. You don't just not plan your date or your romantic weekend. Okay, you still plan it. You still create the conditions for the magic and the fun and the beauty and the love to happen. But you don't try to like force it to happen a certain way. That would be willful creation. And that's not wrong, but in my experience, it's more limiting. The magic happens more if you use collaborative creation. So what a lot of the thing you're doing with experiences is you're creating you're kind of creating the ground. You're preparing the ground is another phrase we used to use for the experience you want to happen. You're creating the conditions. You're creating a space for the thing to happen. When I do a ceremony or when I facilitate a session or a ceremony, I create the space for that thing to happen. I create the space, I create the energy, I call in the spirits perhaps. That's collaborative creation. And then through the session and through the ceremony, where the person's at that I'm working with or the people at that are there, like that energy creates its own dance in that place that I created. Sometimes people call this a container. You create a container. Again, in the Adyashanti retreats I went to, lots of Adyashanti today, they called it like creating a container. And that's by like having silence and turning your cell phone off, and you're creating a container for awakening to happen. You're creating a container for romance or love or beauty or family memories and an amazing vacation. You're creating it to happen. So you plan things. You may plan to go to Disneyland on your vacation. You still plan things, but you don't hang on. You kind of hold them lightly, loosely. You don't like force them to happen a certain way. You have a plan, and then you just okay, now I've got the tickets to Disneyland. Now let's see what happens. Let's see how this Disneyland experience unfolds. Okay, let's see. We might have a plan on what rides we're going to go on, or we might have a road trip to the coast or whatever. And it's okay, well, we have a general idea. Maybe we have reservations to stay at an Airbnb, so we want to plan some of those things, right? But then we allow there's some room, some space for the magic to happen. We don't really plan every little specific thing. We don't get OCD and just then we're going to do this and then we're going to do this. I mean, you can do that. It's not wrong to do that, but then you're going to get exactly that thing. But if you want the other 90% of magic that you can't see, you can create a space, invite in spirit, invite in the universe, invite in the magic. And then it's okay, I've got a space for an amazing day on the coast. These are some ideas. Now let's open it up. Let's create the space. Let's open it up to the universe and let's see what's going on. The other people that we're with, let's see how it unfolds. Let's allow it to unfold is another way that sometimes this is talked about. So it's collaborative creation then. We are preparing the ground. We are creating a space. We are creating the conditions. We do have an intention. And the intention is what creates a focus for the conditions. I want to have an amazing time with my family on the coast. There's an intention. So if I want to have an amazing time, we're going to stay at this Airbnb and we're going to potentially drive up the coast and go to the redwoods, and then we're going to go here. So we're preparing, okay? We are preparing, but we're holding it lightly and we're seeing what happens and we're rerouting perhaps our day. We're letting some room in there, some space for it to go in a different way. Because that's where the magic happens. That's where the beauty happens. And that's where the abundance and the richness happens. So that's a way that you can actually prepare for collaborative creation. And that is my video for this week. And thank you so much for watching. So I hope you have an amazing week. And my invitation is to try this out. Think of something you'd like to create. Create the space for it. Create the conditions for it. And then allow it to unfold. It's a blend of your intention and your preparation, creating the conditions, and the dance that happens with spirit, with the universe, and the people that you're with. It's a dance. That's when some magic can happen. That's when the other 90% that you can't see can come into play. And I will see you in a week.